Hello, hello, and welcome to the Leap to Success podcast, where we get the privilege of interviewing and learning more about our Leap for Ladies community members. And this podcast, the Leap to Success podcast, is the conduit by which we share women's stories of courage, bravery, and success. Each week, we interview women entrepreneurs and leaders that have taken the leap in their lives and inspire our global listeners to be more, have more, and show up more so that you can live a life filled with joy and happiness through believing in yourself. So, with that being said, I am excited for you guys all to get to hear from our guest today, Melissa Deely. And I've known I met Melissa through the LEAP community several years ago and have uh, participated in some of her workshops and had her teach a workshop to my retreat last year. And I just love what you do and how passionate you are about helping people just live a better life, a more fulfilled life. And so tell us a little bit about yourself, Melissa, and what makes you so awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Mary. It's wonderful to be here. And I love how you finished that off saying helping people live a life of more love, peace, and joy and believing in themselves. Because
Yes.
that's where my journey has led me to is that belief, the thoughts that we have, the power that we have inside our mind in order to create the life we want, or that we're inadvertently creating the life that we don't want. And for people that are stuck in that place, we can shift that for you. And so I'm going to start out with that really hopeful message. And just
Yes.
to introduce myself a little bit here, because I know we don't have a lot of time, I jokingly call myself the Friendly Toxin Slayer. And the reason I do that is my official title is an integrative mind body health practitioner, which is quite a mouthful and
Yes.
doesn't really mean anything. So, what is a friendly toxin slayer? I help people detox and heal their physical body, their emotional body, their mental body, and their spiritual body because we have all of these bodies. And in our, traditional Western medical healthcare industry, we only look at the physical body
Mm-hmm.
and we forget about the other bodies. And yet, how many people do you know that have had some kind of health crisis, address the healing in the physical body, and then a year or two later, they get symptoms and they have another diagnosis? And it's because when symptoms show up in the physical body, they've already moved through the other three bodies. And we start the healing in the physical body, and then we have to clear it in the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body in order to get to total health.
Yeah.
And when we don't do that, the body shows up, comes up with more symptoms a couple years later going, hello,
Yeah.
hello, you didn't pay attention to all those stuffed down negative emotions. You need to address those to get to full
Right.
health, right? And so that's why I jokingly call myself the Friendly Toxin Slayer, because I take this holistic approach to helping people on their healing journey. And I love this work so much that I also now train other practitioners, coaches, counselors in these tools of the unconscious mind so that they too can help their clients get the results they're looking for. It's not just about health in all aspects of our life, business,
Yes.
relationship, etc., etc., to get those results with greater ease and grace and speed.
Nice. I love that. I love that. And it's I love that you're helping them get better results with ease and grace and speed, right? That's what we all want. And
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean it's going to happen instantly and it doesn't mean it's not going to take some work. But what I love about, the NLP tools that you use and the other things that you bring into your practice is that it doesn't have to be as difficult as people think it's going to be sometimes, right? Because we've got
Exactly.
tools that can make it a little bit easier for us. It doesn't mean it's going to happen instantaneously. We still have to do the work. We still have to show up. But we can, with help of people like you, it can be an easier journey, right?
Absolutely. And we like to say that we do make the most amount of change with the least amount of work, right?
Nice.
We do that using the unconscious mind, which is the other 90% of our mind. And it's faster, much faster than the conscious mind. And so we can make the change quickly. And as we do that, we're building new neurology. So I liken it to building a little bunny trail, right?
Nice.
And if that neurology never gets used again, that change isn't going to be lasting. So, to your point, it's easy and it's quick. We still have to show up and we have to do the work. So
Mm-hmm.
we create the bunny trail, and then we give you the work so that you can turn that bunny trail into a 2-lane road, and then a 4-lane road, and a 6-lane road until it's an 8-lane highway. And that's just the neurological pathway your brain just automatically goes to at that point, right?
Nice.
And it no longer goes the way that it used to go, that was no longer serving you. And so I like to say that I'm the guide, their unconscious mind is the coach, and we do this work together. It's not me doing anything to you. It's not
Right.
me doing anything for you. It's you showing up and doing the work with my guidance.
Nice. I love that. I love that. Um, so the podcast is called Leap to Success, right? So
Mm.
how, uh, tell our listeners about a time when you took a leap in your business and whether that turned out to be successful in the moment or successful later because it took a different turn, or share just a time when you took a leap in your business.
There's been many.
Yes.
And of course, the path is never a straight line. And
Right.
so, one time that really comes to mind is when I completed my integrative health practitioner training and helping people understand the imbalances and deficiencies in their body through functional medicine lab testing that they can run at home. And then I would write them a wellness protocol that they could follow. Now,
Hmm.
some people could take that wellness protocol and follow it precisely and get amazing results and feel better than they'd ever felt, and get the results they were looking for and the answers to all of the questions that they couldn't get elsewhere. And some people would have the best of intentions of following that protocol and then fall off. And I was like, why? How come?
Yeah.
Why do these people fall off and these people have good success? And of course, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And it was
Hmm.
around that time that a naturopathic doctor reached out to me on LinkedIn, actually, and invited me to a coffee chat. And I was honored that a naturopathic doctor was saying that she liked my work and wanted to chat. And we met, and she started talking to me about the world's 4 most powerful mind body healing modalities. So, of course, I'm intrigued. And she
Yeah.
started talking to me about the unconscious mind, which coincidentally, I had also just recently been reading about, and there's never coincidences, right?
Right.
So I'm
Right.
like, okay, she's talking about what I need to learn. And that's when I had that really big aha as well of, oh my goodness, this is why some people are getting stuck. It's because of the unconscious programming.
Yeah.
And that's when she told me about her programs to teach NLP, timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, etc. And I took a leap of faith. It was a big investment.
Hmm.
However, I took that leap of faith because I knew that was the next step I needed to take my business down. And when I became an integrative health practitioner, I thought, this is it. I'll have all of this learning. I can build my business and then I'm done, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't, because these people were getting stuck. And I got into this because I want to help people. And I didn't like seeing people get stuck and
Yeah.
feeling that I didn't have the tools to help them. And so now I take this leap of faith and I jump into learning these powerful mind body healing modalities. And oh my goodness, that was 3 years ago now. And what a joyful ride it has been,
Nice. Nice.
because
I love it.
I fell in love with those tools, and I'd actually been introduced to them before without the cup of understanding the power of the unconscious mind. So the first time I
Nice.
didn't get it. And
Yeah.
now I got it. And now I really understood it. And then I went on to become a master practitioner, because that's where we work with values, which are our second deepest programming in our unconscious mind.
Hmm.
And values are attached to our beliefs, which are attached to our behaviors. So if we want to work with someone's behavior, we don't need to go behavior by behavior. We can
Right.
just elicit their values and see what value is missing. Maybe they don't have that money as a value on their business values,
Hmm.
and they're wondering why they're having a hard time making money in their business.
Yeah.
Well, let's move that value up into the top 3 to 5 of your values, because those are the ones that get the most juice from the unconscious mind, so that you can start making money in your business.
Yeah. Love
Because when
it.
we change that value, it changes the behaviors, it changes the beliefs, which change the behaviors.
Yes.
So this
Nice.
was so powerful and such a huge shift in the direction I thought I was going with my business.
Yeah.
And from there, again, I was like, I can't just do this one-to-one with people. It would take me forever to work with all the people that I want to work with and all the
Yeah.
can benefit from this. And so
Mhm.
that's when I decided to become a trainer.
Nice.
And I became a trainer of hypnotherapy first. And then I became a trainer of all 4 modalities and completed that at the end of 2023.
Nice.
And then I took
Congratulations.
thank you. And so throughout 2023, my now business partner and I we ran 4 practitioner training programs throughout the year, Krasner training programs for hypnotherapy, and
Mhm.
really uh, had wonderful feedback from our students. She's my
Great.
yin to her yang, or however you want to say it. We
Nice.
just,
Yeah.
work really well together, and we both love training. It's our mission. And the more people we can train in these modalities, the more they can go out and work with people, and we have greater
Yeah.
impact. And
Good.
so my next leap, because I never planned to open another business, my
Yeah.
next leap of faith was to form a company with her, Amplify Impact Academy.
Wow.
And we have big goals with Amplify Impact Academy. And we launched that on October 10th of 2024. And,
Nice.
haven't looked back. And it's been such a beautiful progression as
Nice.
I take those leaps of faith and move my business forward and really step into my purpose.
Nice. I love that. I love that. And taking um, leaps of faith, not just willy nilly, right? But making sure they're aligned with you, right? This
Yes.
is something that's in alignment. And I loved what you said earlier, Melissa, about you had heard some of the information about these tools before, but it didn't resonate with you because it wasn't in the right context or you weren't in the right place to hear it, right? We have
Mm-hmm.
that happen to us as business owners a lot. And, and that may be something that's kind of unconsciously, driving us. I think of taking the leap, like you're standing at the edge of a cliff, right? And you have to take the leap, you have to take the leap to the other side or take that first step, like in Indiana Jones when he has to cross the chasm and he takes a step and the thing automatically appears right in front of him. That leap of faith that it's going to be fine, you're going to figure it out, but sometimes we have to get pushed to the edge before we'll take that step off the edge, right?
Yes.
And I'm sure you probably hear that from your clients a lot too, and that may show up in some of the symptoms that they're dealing with, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how many times am I going to get diagnosed with this, or how long am I going to be
Right.
in pain, or have this symptom, right, before I'm going to be at the edge ready to take the leap? So,
Right. It's
what,
almost like it has to get bad enough before
yeah,
we can then have the courage to take the leap, as opposed to if we could actually take it sooner before we
right.
get so bad, we could propel ourselves forward much sooner as well.
Yes. So what do you tell people who find themselves kind of at that precipice and they're like, I have to make a change. I know I need to. I don't know if I can take the step off this cliff, right? And trust that something's going to be there or that this is the thing that's going to work for me, right? Cuz I've tried this and I've tried that and I've tried this and nothing works because I'm still here at the edge of this cliff. So, how do you kind of let people know or vet them, right? So maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
not the right fit for them at the moment, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they're not ready to receive the information or hear it the way they need to.
Right.
So, how
Right.
do you kind of work with people around that?
It's funny. I was just working with a client this morning on this exact topic, and we have what we call a strategic thinking protocol, right?
Hmm.
How do we think through things strategically? And so
Yeah,
the first question to ask is, will this get me closer to or further from my goal?
nice.
And if it's getting you closer to your goal, the next question isn't, or the next thing to do isn't all come up with all the reasons why it isn't going to work, because that's typically the way we go. And
Yeah,
instead say, how can I? How can I make this work?
yeah,
And we might have 2 or 3 different things, depending on what it is. It's, I have to make this work, I might have to, move a few things in my calendar. I might have to get time off work. I might have to get the kids daycare looked after. These are some of the
hmm,
how can I's. And we come up with a few things, 3 or 4 things of how can I. And then the
nice,
next thing to go to is, what is the first action I can take right now?
nice, nice.
And you can put those in order. So the first, you might not start with getting the kids organized if you haven't got the time off work.
Hmm.
You need the time off work first, right? So that's the
Yeah,
first action you're going to take. Once you get that done, okay, now I've got the time off work. Now I can get the kids organized.
Yeah.
right? You work through it in order to allow this to happen for yourself. And it's
Nice.
just a really simple way to work through determining how you can make this happen for you if this is something that you want.
Yeah.
And if it's
Yeah.
moving you towards your goal, wouldn't it be something you want? So as an example, with the lady this morning, we run a magnified healing course as well. And she
Mm-hmm.
really wants to do it. She's done some of our other courses, and she's a nurse and
Mm-hmm.
looking for new healing modalities because she burned out in the hospital system and doesn't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
However, it was on a weekend where she was celebrating her birthday with her husband and they had plans
Mm-hmm.
to go skiing.
Okay.
And so we just asked the question, is this going to move you further or closer to your goal? She's like, well, that's a no-brainer. Of course, magnified healing is going to move me closer to my goal.
Yeah.
So how can I? Well, you know what? I don't even know if we booked anything for our ski holiday. Let me text my husband and see if he's booked anything. Well, look at
Yeah.
that. No, he hasn't booked anything. So now I can move to the next things. Now my weekend just got clear, which I thought it was booked.
Right. Right.
And so her first action was just asking her husband, is it booked? And so while we're on the call, she started to make it all happen so that she can actually attend this. And it's her birthday. So she's like, I actually get to do something I want to do on my birthday.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
it was
I
a
love
whole new
it.
perspective because initially her response was, I wish I could, but I can't because
Mm-hmm.
I'm going skiing.
Yeah.
And that's so
Yes.
often the way we tend to go. We come up with all the excuses.
Yes.
When you ask the question, is it moving you further towards your goal or further away from your goal? It becomes very clear
Yes.
what you need
Yes.
to do. And then the rest is logistics. You figure the rest out later.
Right. Right.
When you're in alignment with your goal, then you know you're moving forward on the right path.
Yes. I love that. And
And
I
so for
love the
me,
reframe of how can I, right?
exactly,
Because that's empowering. Like, how can I? Instead of I can't, I can't, I can't, I got to overcome all this stuff. How can I make it happen?
exactly,
That's such a big reframe of your thought process, right? Which is so powerful.
exactly. And so for me, when I first met with that naturopathic doctor, it was, is this moving me further or closer to my goal? Well,
Hmm.
of course, learning the tools of the unconscious mind is moving me towards my goal of being able to help every client.
Yeah.
Even if they have programming that's going to make them fall off, that's okay because now I'll have the tools to help them through that.
Right. Right.
So it
I
was, of
love it.
course, a no brainer that I continued down that path.
Yes, I love it. I love it, Melissa. That is so great. Um, so how do you, I mean, you've kind of answered this in an indirect way, but what calls you forward in doing the kind of hard things and the amazing things that you get to do?
My why. My
Yeah.
why calls me forward every single day. I have a big why, and that why is actually embedded in my nonprofit, Girls Matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about keeping girls in school and breaking the poverty cycle, one girl, one family, one village at a time, stopping teenage marriages. Because when we educate the other half, i.e., the girls, and they
Mm-hmm.
get into the workforce, we raise the GDP of countries.
Nice.
That's how we bring countries out of poverty. And that is such a huge why. And of course, I can't do it all on my own. And I have the nonprofit, I have a board of directors, and our business Amplify Impact Academy, we donate 10% of all of our revenues to that cause.
Nice.
And we do other fundraising as well. So, in getting up every day and knowing that I can positively impact the lives of those girls,
Yeah.
and through positively impacting the lives of people that I work with through our training programs, that keeps me going. And just yesterday and the day before, we taught a 2-day program that we just built from the ground up in December. And it was
Nice.
such a hit. And one
Nice.
of the ladies in that program had me in tears when she talked about what she had just learned from a section that we were working through.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a woman who had a lot of trauma in childhood and wasn't sure that she wanted to have children herself and bring them into this messed up world.
Mm-hmm.
And when we did our training, and we talk a lot, as I said at the very beginning, about our thoughts and how
Mm-hmm.
our thoughts impact how we feel, which impact how we behave. And we have a
Yeah.
choice as to what thoughts we take in and ruminate on or the thoughts that we let float on by like clouds in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of jokingly say, you don't have to, if you got poopy thoughts, crappy thoughts, you don't have to
Yeah.
bend down and pick them up and smell them, right?
Yeah.
You can let them go and go, no, I don't want that thought. It doesn't serve me. I'm going to replace it with a more helpful, empowering thought.
Yeah.
And as we went through the day and a half, she came back from lunch and said, over lunch, I realized that I am now ready to get pregnant. And I want
Wow.
to get pregnant
Wow.
because I now know that I can bring children into the world that I create for them.
Nice. Nice. Oh, that gave me goosebumps, Melissa.
I've got
That's
goosebumps.
amazing.
So,
Yeah.
how can I not show up and do this work?
Right. Right. Yeah, when you can have that kind of impact, it's just so powerful, right? And I love, love, love your nonprofit. When you send out those information and the stories of the difference that it can make, right? Just a simple way of the one that was so powerful for me, that was a recent one that you sent out about, the woman being able to sew clothes and, help people have a dress, right? And teaching
Yeah.
her the skills, and then she can help people dress better, have uniforms for school, right? It's just that ripple effect that can affect a community, a family first, a community, and then, eventually the country, right? It's so powerful. And we all have that ability to, some of us might be thinking, oh, I could never do that. I can never have that impact, right? But I encourage everybody to say, how can you, right?
Yeah,
How can I?
exactly. Exactly. And thank you. And thank you for your generous donations. I really appreciate the support.
Yeah, it's my
And
pleasure.
for anybody who has a big idea out there and they're feeling like it's in their head and haven't really talked to anybody about it and they don't know how to get started, that
Yeah,
was literally me for 3 years with
nice.
wanting to start Girls Matter and not knowing how to do it until I went to a conference where the speaker said, we are all put on this earth to do three things: never stop learning, be of service, and
Mhm.
find your passion. And that you don't have to know how, you just have to know your why. And this resonated so deeply with me. And I literally thought, I know my why. And I
Yeah,
just have to start speaking it and telling other people, and then the resources will come and fall into place. And I left that conference and I called the only two people I know that had started a nonprofit in British Columbia, Canada. And I
uh-huh,
said, will you teach me how to start a nonprofit? And they said, sure, what do you want to do? And I told them, and they said, you know what? We'll do it with you because we already have the nonprofit for the preschool kids.
nice.
Let's now do the nonprofit for the high school and university kids, and we'll support education at both ends. And you just need to start where we're already located. So let's
Yeah,
start in Uganda. I went, great.
nice.
They already had the staff on the ground. We literally started it a month later. And I've been
Wow,
sitting on it
wow,
for 3 years.
wow.
All you have to do is speak it.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. And it has to be tied to your why as well, right?
Yes.
Don't do it
Yes,
because it looks
absolutely.
good
Speak
or
why.
you think you need to do it or somebody told you you should do it. It has to be really connected to your why. But then I love, Melissa, how you also just were said, who do I know? Like, right, that's the how can I
Yes,
reframe, right? Instead of I don't know how to start a nonprofit, that's too big, it'll never make an impact, it's too much work. We can always easily, our brain takes us down that here's why it won't work, right?
okay.
But that reframe is so powerful. The how can I? Um, and then you're just like, okay, here's some, I know people who've done it, right? So learn from their examples. It's just such a powerful tool for us all to be reminded of that we already have within us, right? Just reframing it and
Exactly.
then reaching out to community. That's the power of these communities that we have, is reaching out to people that have already done something that you want to do, right? And I
Exactly.
find, at least in the Leap for Ladies communities and other communities I'm involved with, most people, if you ask them sincerely and you come to them with your purpose and your why, they're going to help you, right?
Yes.
It's pretty
Yes.
rare that somebody says, no, I'm not going to help you do that thing that's going to help the world be a better place, right? So
Exactly. And to add to that, we moved into Kenya and expanded into Kenya probably 4 years ago because of Colleen Biggs, because
nice,
she connected me to somebody that she knew in Kenya who was running an organization for women from the
nice.
slums. And I then started supporting the girls of those women, and I'm
Nice.
still supporting that organization, even though the woman that Colleen introduced me to tragically died a year ago of cancer. Her
Oh
husband
no.
is now supporting, and her oldest son. So I'm working with them to continue supporting keeping the girls of the Nairobi slums in school. And that's how we expanded from
Nice.
Uganda to Kenya, was literally because of the LEAP community.
Nice. I love that. I love that. I'm so excited to hear those kind of stories, and it's one of those things, it's a ripple effect we don't even realize that we know we're having always, right? Because it
Mhm.
might just be we make an introduction and we don't ever know where that introduction goes. And it
Yes.
can be changing lives around the globe, right? So that is just the power of community, and I'm just so happy that you're part of the LEAP community and a member here. Okay, is
And
there anything
on that,
else that?
yeah, I do.
Okay,
I want to share one
yeah,
thing, and it's a
yeah.
beautiful song that I encourage people to go listen to. It's called "Start a Wave," and it's from the World of Color cast, and it's literally what you just said.
Oh,
And it's
nice.
talking about how it takes one drop and watch that drop become a ripple and watch the ripple become a wave. And that an
Oh,
ocean
nice.
started with one drop, and we can change the world.
Yes.
So why don't you start a wave? And each and every single one of us has that within us. When we think of it, it's just one drop.
I love it. That gave me goosebumps again. So lots of goosebumps in this podcast interview, Melissa. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. I'll go look up the song right as soon as we end the podcast so I can hear that.
Maybe
Um,
pop it in the show notes if you can, once you get it.
yes, I will. I'll put
Yeah,
the link
yeah.
in the show notes for sure. And speaking of show notes, so we will put all of Melissa's contact information in the show notes. So if you're listening to this or watching this on your favorite podcast channel or method, whatever they're called,
App.
you can, yes, you can go and find all of Melissa's contact information in the show notes. And please, please, please do yourself a favor and take that leap and reach out to Melissa and go to her website. She's got amazing classes. The self hypnosis day was really amazing. I loved taking that course with you and learned a lot. And just take a leap. Check out what she has to offer, and who knows, it could change your life, right? Start that little ripple effect. So thanks again for being a Leap for Ladies community member, Melissa, and thanks for being on the podcast today.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Thank you for having me, Mary.
Thanks.